Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Eaton, and I'm a professor at the University of Connecticut in the Department of Human Development and Family Sciences. And I'm also, by training, I'm a social psychologist, and I'm very excited to be here and to meet you all. So my work is primarily based in the United States, where one of the leading challenges in addressing sexual violence on campus is an overall lack of reporting, which I would imagine is fairly universal. An overall lack of reporting to both informal and formal sources, such as law enforcement or campus authorities. My work more broadly has primarily focused on understanding barriers to why individuals have these experiences with reporting, with a particular attention being paid to stigma as an emotional barrier to reporting. At the same time, though, it's very important for me to emphasize that we can't only look at individuals and why they do or do not report, of course. It's equally critical to examine the environment itself under which the expectation of reporting is being encouraged. And we know that structures and systems often fail to meet the needs of those who experience violence. And I just want to highlight that there are many critical reasons why someone might not choose to report, especially within these formal systems. So from this perspective, my work is largely about rethinking that environment and asking how we can shift to better support survivors and prevent violence in the first place. I am very much interested in moving from a criminal justice focus and punitive focus model to one that's more focused on restorative justice practices. And so I'm not presenting on empirical data, or at least not data that I've personally collected. This is more of a pitch to consider how restorative justice practices could be implemented in adjudicating experiences of sexual violence on campus. So for those who aren't familiar with it, restorative justice is an approach that prioritizes healing, community, and accountability. It has deep roots in indigenous traditions. And the practices we see today are based on those foundational approaches. Very slowly, restorative justice is gaining traction in the US as an alternative response to sexual violence, particularly on addressing it on campus, when both the survivor and the person who engaged in the harm both agree. And I'd be very curious to hear from others in terms of whether or not restorative justice practices are being implemented in your communities at home. So please let me know, because I'm very, very curious what the experiences of that. How much time? Where am I in time?
You still have 1.5 minutes.
Okay, 1.5 minutes. Here we go. So there are several approaches to restorative justice that I just want to mention, some of which are survivor-centered restorative dialogue, where survivors can choose to engage directly or indirectly with the person who's caused the harm. The goal of that is that the person who's experienced the harm feels that they remain in control of the conversation. There's also what are referred to as indirect or shuttle communication for survivors who prefer not to meet face-to-face with those who have caused harm. This facilitation can include exchanging letters, messages, agreements, while supporting accountability and maintaining boundaries. Restorative justice processes also have a large focus on the impact of abuse on one's community. So some of the common methods to address that are called the community accountability circles, where communities collectively support survivors and aim to disrupt patterns of abuse. Similar to that, there are healing and support circles, spaces where survivors or affected communities can gather without involving the person who caused the harm, focusing on validation, mutual support, and collective healing. So in short, again, this is my pitch for restorative justice, as it offers a path that goes beyond punishment and emphasizes healing and accountability and prevention, all with an eye for having a system that does not re-traumatize an individual who has recently, or not recently, experienced violence. So that's it.
Thank you.